Hello and welcome back. I'm still here in my same outfit, but I'm sure you have taken a break and maybe come back to this on a different day. We have covered a whole lot in math, but the best part is coming up next. We're going to be talking about integrating biblical principles in your math lessons. So I hope this is inspiring and thought-provoking. Let's get started. Go ahead and get out your course handbook. All right, so this is only 2 pages long. It should be a shorter part of the entire module. Follow along as I read aloud. Integrating biblical principles into math instruction means that we do not teach numbers, operation, or problem solving as isolated skills, but as opportunities to disciple the mind and heart. I love this part. No matter how frustrating math can be, always remember that this is an opportunity to disciple your children and get them closer to the Lord. Every equation solved, every measurement taken, and every problem worked through is a chance to reflect on who God is, how He orders creation, and how He calls us to live with wisdom and integrity. You are going to be faced, if you haven't already faced it, with the question, why do I have to learn this? Sometimes math can be difficult to understand. Kids don't visualize it. Kids don't understand it. They don't have a good teacher to explain it. But every time they ask that question, jump on the chance to disciple your children and to encourage their hearts and to point them back to the purpose of learning math, and that is to understand God better and furnish your child's mind with the truths of how math reflects who God is and why it's so important. Help build in your child that perseverance they need and the right focus to continue. Taking breaks are good, but when you come back to it, set them up for success and do the things that you know are going to help them. Which leads me to the last sentence in the first paragraph. When parents intentionally connect the 5 biblical principles of math with the 5 core components, they turn routine lessons into meaningful moments of discipleship. And this is so important because it doesn't matter how far your child advances in math or doesn't advance in math. What matters most is their ability to connect with God in every area of life. And this is just one of those areas. So when teaching numbers, the biblical principles remind us that every quantity reflects God's nature. The unchanging consistency of numbers demonstrates His immutability, while the endless sequence of numbers points to His infinity and eternity. He gave us the ability to visualize God's nature through numbers. Parents can emphasize this truth as students learn to count, compare, and classify numbers. Whether children are identifying prime numbers or skip counting by twos, they can be reminded that God is a God of order who designed creation according to His majesty and His glory. And when you use this as an opportunity for discipleship, what an amazing opportunity we have as parents. Let's move on to numeration and notation. In numeration and notation, we are reminded that math is God's language, and He uses it to establish Himself as the authority and the model for truth, order, and discipline. Writing numbers correctly, aligning digits in their proper place value, and using mathematical notation are all acts of integrity and precision. Parents can connect this to the idea that God sets the standard for writing numbers, and He wants us to read them. And we can see this so evident throughout the Bible, whether it be through genealogies, census records, or exact dimensions of the temple. Teaching students to name and write numbers carefully is a way of practicing precision and reflecting God's attention to detail. And even if your child does not pay attention to details, at least give them opportunities to do so, because you never know when you might awaken inside of them the attention to details. And whatever they're going to be doing in their adult life, following their passions, they're definitely going to be using attention to detail there. So don't count it off too quickly. Remember, This is always an opportunity to help them grow because we don't know what they're going to do with their life or what God's going to call them to. Let's move on. Operations highlight the principle that math is a disciplined thought structure requiring analysis and reason. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division are not arbitrary steps, but logical processes that build upon one another. As children learn their facts, practice mental math, and progress to more complex procedures, parents can emphasize the habits of diligence, perseverance, and accuracy. These are not only math habits, but life habits, equipping students to cultivate critical thinking and sound reasoning. Operations also illustrate God's beauty. While our minds are finite, we can see how amazing math works in its intricacy and order. It's like the details of the colors and lines of a butterfly. There's beauty in numbers and how they work. The next way to integrate biblical principles is through measurement. Measurement brings the biblical principles into daily life in practical ways. When children measure length, area, weight, time, or value, they see firsthand that God's world is measurable, ordered, and consistent. Using manipulatives, measuring cups, or rulers connects the principle that math is best learned through visual and concrete experiences. As students grow, they learn that accuracy in measurement is not just about getting the right answer on the worksheet. It's about developing character and reflecting His truth. Parents can frame lessons by reminding students that measurement is a God-given way to steward resources and to understand the world around them. And the more they understand, the more control that they have over their world. Follow me to the next page and last page of integrating principles with math lessons. Finally, problem solving brings all the principles together. Every problem, whether simple or complex, is an opportunity for students to practice reasoning, analysis, and disciplined thought. Parents can guide students to use both inductive and deductive thinking, to visualize problems with diagrams and models, and to test their solutions for accuracy. Connecting this practice to biblical truth, students learn that God invites them to seek wisdom and apply knowledge with integrity. Just as Joseph used problem solving to plan for Egypt's years of famine, children learn that math equips them to solve real-life challenges and to serve others with foresight and skill. Students can learn to fulfill their God-given purpose through problem solving. In summary, by weaving these principles into daily lessons, parents shift the focus of math from rote performance to purposeful discipleship. Every lesson can begin with a short truth about God's order, highlight the discipline of careful reasoning, and end with a reminder that math is a tool for stewardship and service. Students who learn math this way do not just gain skill in computation, but they grow in wisdom, discipline, and biblical perspective that shapes how they think and live and prepares them to serve others with their skills and talents. So that's it for Module 4, Teaching Math with Biblical Principles. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to help. Thank you so much for enduring all of these lessons, and I pray that God uses them in your homeschool to transform you and your children to draw closer to God through math. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in Module 5. Bye.